Hey everyone, me Kevin here. So Biden's going to be speaking momentarily. This is John Ossoff. He's talking a little bit about future plans. So that's usually what I like to stream. So I know how should we plan to invest if a certain person comes in power. That's why I air these political things, is I'm trying to figure out where am I going to put my money. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start streaming on this. We'll be getting Biden right after John.
And look, here's the bottom line. If Mitch McConnell and the Republicans hold on to the Senate, they will try to do to Joe and Kamala exactly like they tried to do to President Obama. But we have too much good work to do for things to be ground to a halt in our nation's capital. We need to raise the minimum wage to $15. We need to expand the Pell Grant program so no young person in this state has to take on debt to get a degree from a public college or from an HBCU. We need to relieve the burden of student debt from those who are currently struggling to get out from under their loans. We can do all these things when we win tomorrow. We can deliver health, jobs, and justice for the people, for all the people. Let's talk about justice, Atlanta. Let's talk about justice. Black people don't have none. I mentioned my mother a few minutes ago. Y'all may not know this. My mother came to this country as an immigrant when she was 23 years old, alone as a young woman. Takes a lot of courage to uproot your life at that age, move to the other side of the planet, and start new. But like so many immigrants, my mother came to this country because she believed that this country stood for certain ideals. Let me be clear that that doesn't mean that she indulged any fantasies about our past. That doesn't mean that she didn't recognize how much further America had to go. She became a young activist. My mother was marching in the streets for the Equal Rights Amendment in the 1970s. She had me walking around the house when I was 3 or 4 years old with one of those ERA Now buttons on. So now you see where I'm coming from. My mother became an activist, and my mother became a citizen, because she recognized that the ballot box is where we demand progress. The ballot box is where we hold elected officials accountable. The ballot box is where we ensure that this country keeps moving on a journey of—
I'm just going to quickly mention while he says that you should go vote. He, when I decided to start streaming here, he was just talking about how his opponents, the Republican legislators who are running for the Senate or rerunning to maintain their seat, how they basically were anti the $2,000 stimulus checks. And then right the week before the election, now they're for it. That's his argument, obviously. This is, of course, a Democrat here. We're going to see Joe Biden momentarily. We'll get some more insights into what Joe Biden and this individual's plans are in the future. So far, we've already heard a few things: $15 minimum wage. We've heard raising Pell Grants. This is a representative, or this is a senator. So obviously, it takes everyone to be able to do this. But these are some priorities: raising Pell Grants, need to relieve the burden of student debt. These are things we've heard Biden say as well. But we'll see Biden momentarily. Let's keep listening.
Equal justice for all, no matter the color of our skin. Are you ready to fight to pass a new Voting Rights Act that will secure the sacred franchise that John Lewis and so many bled and suffered for? Are you ready to fight for health and jobs and justice for all the people? Are you ready to send a message that echoes not just from coast to coast, but down the generations about what this state stands for? Atlanta, we just have a few hours left. I'm asking you to dream about what's possible. I'm asking you to believe in what's possible. I'm asking you to work to make real what is possible. No regrets. No regrets. We are on the cusp of a historic victory. Feel it. Know it. Believe it. Work for it. Atlanta, are you ready to work? Atlanta, are you ready to win? Atlanta, are you ready to elect 2 new United States senators? Atlanta, say it with me again. Say vote. Say vote. Say vote. I love you all. Thank you so much. God bless you.
All right. Okay, definitely going to lower the volume for the music because I guarantee you YouTube's going to come swooping in going, demonetized. Jeez, YouTube can be brutal. So obviously, there's going to be a little brief transition here. Then we will get Biden out. The pointing, by the way, that is a political strategy. You don't necessarily have to know somebody in the audience. There's so many people in the audience. But as a political strategy, you go, hey, it makes it seem like you're relatable. Oh, politics is hilarious. It's all about impressions. You're going to see that, obviously, this is Democratic here. You're going to see the same thing on the Republican side. They all do it. Trump does it. Obama did it. Biden does it. Biden less, probably. But Hillary Clinton did it. They all do it. Okay, who we got? Okay, so they're prepping the podium, doing the wipe down for Biden. Biden should be next. Biden was scheduled to start speaking 17 minutes ago. As usual, we are. So we'll see what Joe Biden's priorities are. I do enjoy these specifically so that we can try to figure out what priorities we want to keep an eye on when we're investing. I definitely think we're going to see a lot, especially if we get Democratic control. I think we're going to see a lot of additional support for the electric vehicle space, the solar space. This is why some of my biggest holdings right now, in addition to like Etsy, Amazon, Apple, some of my favorites, Tesla, Enphase, really great companies. Got to be in those. Did a video this morning on NIO. If you haven't seen that video yet, definitely encourage you to watch that. I think I put 10 hours of research into 30 minutes for you. So that's a really good one. So any moment now, Joe Biden will come out and we will see what Joe Biden has to say. This is, I get excited about, again, writing down specifically what he's going to say going forward. It's been a while since we've had a decent plan from Joe Biden. The last time he gave us a speech, no, I think they're mic checking. Oh, let's double check. Yeah, okay, no, they've got mics down. So the last time Joe Biden spoke, he didn't really tell us much. In fact, let's see here. I'll look really quick. So we had, Joe Biden spoke for about 5 minutes and then walked off. We streamed it on the channel. That was last time he spoke. So we've gotten very little info from Biden in sort of the recent couple weeks here, ever since the sort of $2,000 check debacle started. We haven't heard much from Biden, so it'll be nice to get a little bit insight from both. Obviously, we'll hear from Trump tonight. I'll be streaming that as well, but it's always nice to hear what they have to say. Whether you like them or not, I like to hear what they have to say. And especially if you invest in stocks, it's good. Okay, I'm not sure if I'm guessing they just killed the mic. That the only mic they have is that stand mic, because I don't have any audio on this right now. I'll double check. Hold on. But there's nobody there, so no. Yep, their audio's muted. Okay, so we're just waiting for Biden now. Waiting for Biden. I will say that, I mentioned this as well in yesterday's video. Remember Joe Biden's plans so far that we know. The last time he spoke, I'll give you a little bit of preview, and we'll see what's changed. And it's kind of fun because sometimes he changes his priorities. So the last time he spoke in real detail was back in December 4th. I think this was his victory speech. Victory asterisk, right? But anyway, he says we will have to act again in January, control the pandemic, revive the economy, build back better. He wants to reward work, not wealth. We hear a lot about this build back better. This is really just a euphemism for more infrastructure spending, EV, electric vehicles, charging vehicles. Remember, something that hasn't been covered almost at all in the current stimulus bill, there is actually a section in it that talks about studying the impacts of vehicle to grid connections. So hooking your car battery essentially up to your grid. And this is something I think that came from obviously a Democratic priority. We'll maybe see more about that today. Obviously, I think that's phenomenal if you're an investor in the EVs. Joe Biden did tell us that we would expect a $1,200 stimulus check the last time he spoke. We'll see what he has to say today. We know that the stimulus checks were a topic of conversation when John was speaking here just minutes ago. Biden will be up in just a few minutes, so I would imagine we might hear something about stimulus checks in this conversation. Maybe not. It depends. If we do, that would be a good sign, obviously. We expect Joe Biden to mention that we need funding for the vaccines, more funding for the vaccines, ramp up testing probably as well. But
coming up, President-elect Joe Biden campaigns in Georgia ahead of tomorrow's Senate runoff elections, which will determine which party controls the chamber. Live coverage on C-SPAN 2.
Thank you. Okay, anyway. Probably also, I hope to hear a lot about rental relief. Joe Biden, when he speaks here, hopefully we hear more about rental relief, because rental relief is something that it's a disaster right now. I mean, how many people who are tenants who are suffering, or who are landlords who haven't been paid because the tenants can't because of the darn pandemic? How many people are waiting right now for these darn portals to open up? And the states don't have the portals put together yet. So how are they going to collect applications? The states don't have the money yet, even though $25 billion has been allocated. They still don't have the money. And we got the eviction crisis coming up at the end of the month again. So it just constantly feels like we're just kicking a can down the road. Very frustrating. So maybe we'll hear Biden say something about extending the eviction moratorium again. Maybe it looks like we got Secret Service positioning there on the left. I can't tell who that is there on the left. I guess. Now we got music, so I'm going to mute this again. We'll mute this. Can't have this music. We can't have that enjoyment on YouTube. YouTube will just delist us. Okay, so what did we know? We know that right now 1 in 6 renters are behind in rent, possibly even worse now. The market sold off a little bit on COVID fears. We've got, Joe Biden told us last time that only 1 in 4 businesses are able to. Sorry, 1 in 4 business owners are struggling to stay open. It's really sad. It's a tough time. This was from Joe Biden's last speech. We'll see what he says today, if he's got some updated stats for us, some updated plans of action. Again, it's been a little bit since we've gotten a full set of details from him. So I'm fascinated to see it. I have to say, it looks like the weather in Atlanta is really nice right now. You can imagine. I do wonder what it is. Not that it really matters. Weather, Atlanta, Georgia. While we wait. Oh, it's 57 degrees. Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's refreshing. Sometimes it's a little warmer and more humid. But anyway, so any minute now, Joe Biden will come up, and then we will see what Joe Biden has to say. I guess I can answer some questions here in the meantime, if you have any questions while we wait for Joe Biden. So let's see here. Sold Apple today. Somebody sold Apple stock today. Really? That's a great one to hold, honestly. That's such a wonderful company to hold for the long term. Apple was down 2% today, and you sold it. PUA in Massachusetts closed. You should be able to just continue to put your claims in here while we wait for Biden, obviously. Any minute. Oh, they're zooming in to nothing. Okay, we got Secret Service circling this tent. He must be in this tent. Gosh, could you imagine doing this? Secret Service work? I think it'd be kind of cool. Okay. So any minute now. It seems like they're getting ready, but then again, they're always behind. So what else do we have here? Got my second stimmy dumped, and you dumped it all into Nano Dimension. Hey, man, great company. Just be careful. Be careful about these smaller companies. The volatility there could be so insane. It's a good company. That CEO really knows how to make money, though. Oh, it's down 6% today. So I don't know when you bought it, but it doesn't matter. 6% here or there. It's for a Nano Dimension, doesn't matter. What else do we have here? Let's keep handing out money. Someone's Ninja Move says that. What's the over on Biden's speech length? I say 8 minutes. Oh, okay. Some guests. I honestly think this is going to be longer. His last statement was somewhere around 5-6 minutes, but usually these rallies can be longer because you've got a lot of people here in the crowd. It's not just the press. They're trying to take people who are already excited and make them more excited. Let's see if this person has anything to tell us. What, is he late?
Hello, everybody.
Where's
My
Biden?
name is Allie, and I'm a student at Campbell High School. And on November 3rd, like so many of you, I was a first-time voter.
I want Biden. Get Biden out.
I don't have words to describe the feeling I had holding that ballot in my hand. For the first time, I had a voice. a voice that would impact our country's future. I didn't expect to experience that feeling for another 4 years, but here we are. Today, we Georgians have the power to bring COVID-19 relief, to reform our criminal justice system, to move towards cleaner energy. However, none of this can be done if we don't all vote. Whether this is your first election or your 20th, your vote will dictate the future of our country. We are in a time when leadership is needed. We are in a time when our voices need to be loud. So please, Georgia, use your vote, your voice, to put Jon Ossoff and Raphael Warnock in the U.S. Senate.
And now Joe Biden.
It is now with great honor that I introduce President-elect Joe Biden.
All right. At least it wasn't long. Okay, I'm lowering this again. The music's not going to work. Sorry. Blame YouTube, not me. I don't see him. Come on, where is he? This is where he's supposed to be coming out and dancing. At least that's what Trump would be doing. Right there we go. Okay, here we go. Joe Biden coming out. I'm keeping it low for the music purposes here. Here we go. Okay. Gonna do the waves. Point. Let's see a point. Come on. Do a point. Okay, we got the fist. Come on. Every third wave's got to be a point. Oh, he didn't do it. Dang.
Hello. It's good to be back. It's good to be back. Let's hear it for Allie. For that introduction and the great lineup of entertainers you've had. You're probably disappointed hearing us speaking. We'll get the entertainers back on here. And let's hear it for Stacey Abrams. Nobody in America has done more for the right to vote than Stacey. Stacey, you're changing Georgia. You've changed America. And I want to personally thank you again.
It's kind of like a Trump line. Nobody's done more.
Public Service Commissioner Daniel Blackman. I don't know where Daniel is, but I know he's here. Look, and one of the best mayors America has, and my good friend Keisha Lance Bottoms. If I had three of her, I could rule the world. I love her, I tell you. And let's hear it for the next United States Senators, Jon Ossoff and the Reverend Warnock. I just talked to them in the back. They're talented. They're principled. They're qualified. They're decent. They're honorable. They mean what they say, and they believe what I believe the definition of America is. It's about possibilities, unlike any other nation in the world. Anything's possible. They're bending the arc of history toward justice and hope and progress. And that's not hyperbole, that's real. Folks, this is it. This is it. It's a new year. And tomorrow can be a new day for Atlanta, for Georgia, and for America. First, let me start by saying thank you for electing me and Kamala as President and Vice President of the United States. You voted in record numbers in November. Your voices were heard. Your votes were counted. The will of the people prevailed. We won 3 times here. Each recount, you know what I mean? I think we should count it as 3 states. Won 3 times. And now we need you to vote again in record numbers, to make your voices heard again and again, to change Georgia, to change America again. And this is not an exaggeration. Georgia, the whole nation is looking to you to lead us forward for real. You know it. You cannot turn on any national television show without knowing about what's going on here and what you all are doing.
The power is literally in your hands. Unlike any time in my career, one state can chart the course, not just for the next 4 years, but for the next generation. By electing John and the Reverend, you can make an immediate difference in your own lives, the lives of the people all across this country, because their election will put an end to the block in Washington, that $2,000 stimulus check, that money that will go out the door immediately, tell people who are in real trouble. Think about what it'll mean to your lives. Putting food on the table, paying rent, paying for your mortgage,
paying
down the credit card, paying the phone bill, the gas bill, the electric bill. Just look around. Millions of people in this country out of work through no fault of their own. No fault of their own. They're struggling. Many are fearful, and many have given up hope. Look at the lines at food banks. Hours and hours and hours. This is the United States of America, for God's sake. And their food lines, like we've not seen since the Depression. And they're getting longer. Families, children, people have worked their whole lives and never asked for a thing except a fighting chance. Now they're lining up for food in America. And the debate over $2,000 isn't some abstract debate in Washington. It's about real lives, your lives, the lives of good, hardworking Americans. And if you're like millions of Americans all across this country, you need the money, you need the help, and you need it now. Look, Georgia, there's no one in America with more power to make that happen than you, the citizens of Atlanta, the citizens of Georgia.
I mean, he's basically making a campaign promise here.
That's literally true. If you send John and the Reverend to Washington, those $2,000 checks will go out the door, restoring hope and decency and honor for so many people who are struggling right now.
He just raised the stakes. Oh.
And if you send Senators Perdue and Loeffler back to Washington, those checks will never get there. It's just that simple. The power is literally in your hands. By electing John and the Reverend, you can break the gridlock that has gripped Washington and this nation. With their votes in the Senate, we'll be able to make the progress we need to make on jobs, on health care, on justice, on the environment, on so many important things. By electing John and the Reverend, you'll be voting to get the states the resources they need to get the vaccines distributed. It's a shame what's happening now. It's a literal shame. I've said it before, getting America vaccinated will be one of the most difficult operational challenges this nation has ever faced. But we've known it for the last months. This administration has gotten off to a god-awful start. The president spends more time whining and complaining than doing something about the problem. I don't know why he still wants the job. He doesn't want to do the work. Look, the states need help. There's a reason why the Constitution said the federal government could have a deficit spending in times of crisis, and states have to balance their budgets. It's for this very thing. It's the whole idea. Your states have to balance your budgets. So what's happening? You're going to see more and more people laid off, more firefighters, police officers, school teachers, first responders, the people we need badly now. The states need more money to do the job. They need the federal government to work with them, not attack them and leave them out there hanging. It's going to be tough to get this done, but we have to do it. People's lives literally depend on it. Our economy depends on it. And we'll get it done by electing John and the Reverend to be voting to get their state and local government funding and the money they need to keep cops, firefighters, teachers, local responders, keep them on the job, protecting you and looking out for your children. Look, states have been struggling through this pandemic. They need help. By electing John and the Reverend, you'll be sending a powerful message to Congress and to the country that it's time for this nation, for God's sake, to finally come together. Finally, to work together, to unite, to put the anger and the division and the divisive politics of the past behind us. And here's one more thing. Voting for John and the Reverend won't just be good for America, it'll be good for Georgia. And here's why. When you vote for John and Raphael, you'll be sending 2 senators who will fight for you, who put Georgia first, who put you first. You don't have that now. You have 2 senators who think it's more important to reward wealth than hard work in the tax system. You have 2 senators now who think they don't work for you, they work for Trump. I mean, think about it. You have 2 senators who think their loyalty is to Trump, not to Georgia. You have 2 senators who think they've sworn an oath to Donald Trump, not to the United States Constitution. Let me tell you something. I got elected when I was 29 years old and 6 more times the United States Senate from Delaware. And guess what? Not once did I think I took an oath to any president, Democrat or Republican. I took an oath to the United States Constitution. And as president, I don't believe your United States senators are going to work for me. They work for the people of Georgia. That's why I'm not asking your senators to be loyal to me. I believe they should be loyal to you, to Georgia, the United States Constitution, period. And if you vote for John and the Reverend, that's what you're going to get. Decent, honorable men. They won't put a president or party first, and they sure won't put themselves first. They know public service is about you. It isn't about them. It's not about enriching themselves. It's about making people's lives better, about giving people a chance. Just an even shot, no guarantee, but an even shot. It's time to start rewarding work and not wealth. And if you listen to John and the Reverend, that's what they've been saying. That's what they've been campaigning on. Look, I'm dealing with COVID. I'm revitalizing our economy, our health care, our voting rights, criminal justice, racial justice, climate change, on the things that matter and will make a difference in your lives and the lives of your families. Georgia, as dark as these days of winter seem, I'm still more optimistic about this country than any time in my entire life. I really mean
Big statement.
The American people now understand clearly what's at stake. And John and Raphael share that optimism. They saw firsthand the power of believing in the promise of America in our darkest months. John learned it from my old friend and yours, John Lewis. Reverend Warnock sees the power of faith to overcome the toughest trials that life can throw at us. He believes, as I do, in the quote of the German philosopher Kierkegaard, who said, "Faith sees best in the dark." I know they share with me that deep faith in the American people in this country, a faith that enables us to overcome adversity, to lift each other up, to be a beacon of light.
He's definitely gotten
for one
coaching
another
from
and
Obama.
for the world.
You can definitely
That's
see
who we
correlations
are.
between how he speaks
And
now
that's
compared
what
to
we
how he
should
used to
never
speak.
give up on.
My guess.
Look, folks, I've said many times, and I'll say it here again. There's nothing, and I say this again, nothing this country is unable to do when we decide to do it together. We have faced tougher times before, and we've always overcome. We've always overcome. We've always come out better than we went in, no matter what. I know this campaign has been exhausting. You put the hard work in over the last few years to get to this moment. It's been intense. It's been nonstop. But I'm asking you to give everything you've got one more day. One more day. And that one more day, this is not hyperbole, you can change America. So if you haven't voted, vote. If you already voted, and I'm asking you one more day of making calls and safely knocking on doors. Go to iwillvote.com/GA to find your polling location. Just like you did in November. Vote, vote, vote. Vote for John and the Reverend. Vote. In America, as our opposition friends are finding out, all power flows from the people. From the people. That's our history. That's our law. That's our tradition. That's our Constitution. That's our democracy. Politicians cannot assert, take, or seize power. Power is given, granted by the American people alone. And we can never give that up. It's always the will of the people that must prevail. So today, tomorrow, vote. Make sure your voice is heard. Do it for yourselves. Do it for your families. Do it for your children. Do it for your state, your country. Do it for all those who've given up so much. Think of all those who've given up so much to secure that right. Do it for the country you love, because I know you love this country. In the future, you want to build for everyone in this country. Do it for all those around the world who aspire like us to be free and a democratic people who look to us. I've been in over almost 100 countries. They all look to America. The power is in your hands. John and Reverend Warnock are counting on you. So is Kamala, so am I, and so is America. We're a nation built on honor, decency, dignity, and respect. America is and must continue to be a beacon of light, liberty, and democracy and unity. That's who we are. That's the United States of America. Vote, 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 vote. God bless you all, and may God protect our troops. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you.
Right. Okay. Wow. Okay, we just got some. I'd say not a whole variety of insights, but we did get some insights. So let's do a quick little recap here. I will kind of do this separately here. So give me 1 second here. Okay. I'll put this down. All right. Let's see here. There we go. All right, here we go. So here's a quick recap as to what just happened. Hey everyone, me Kevin here. Joe Biden just spoke in the Georgia runoff election last rally that we've got for the day before the election tomorrow. We heard Jon Ossoff talk about Democratic priorities like raising the minimum wage to $15. We heard talk about raising the amount of Pell Grants, saying John mentioned that no one should have to take on debt to go to a public college or historically black college. We heard that there's a need to relieve student debt. This is something that we've heard from Joe Biden as well. Then obviously we heard a priority push from Jon Ossoff as well about clean infrastructure, building back better. We've heard that regularly from Joe Biden as well. But what we heard today from Joe Biden himself was less of a structured message. Usually we get from Joe Biden a very structured, hey, you know, here are the plans going forward. These are my expectations. This is what we're going to do. We got a plan. We're going to do this, then we're going to do this, then we're going to do this. And he kind of goes through that way. I'm going to go put this away for a second. There we go. So instead, what we got here was a lot more politically charged, a lot more get out and vote, vote for decency, vote for respect, vote for the future of America. But we got something also that we didn't bargain for. We got Joe Biden saying that we need to end the blockade in Congress by sending Jon Ossoff and Warnock to Congress to send a message to Congress, and then the $2,000 will go out. When I first heard that, I questioned what I had just heard. It sounded like a campaign promise to me. Then we heard a little bit more from Joe Biden that we have food banks with lines that are too long. You need money. You need help. Americans need help. And you have the power to make it happen, Joe Biden says. Joe Biden says we need help and we have the power to make it happen. And by we, he means Georgians in this case. Then he reiterated stimulus checks, $2,000 checks will go out if you send Democrats to Congress. Otherwise, the $2,000 checks will get blocked again. That was what Joe Biden said. Now, keep in mind, we have heard campaign promises like this from politicians before. It's kind of like your student council body president saying we're going to get ice cream every day if you elect me as president, right? It's a campaign promise. But this is the first time Joe Biden has publicly come out and said, if you send these two senators to Congress, you will get $2,000 stimulus checks. Joe Biden has been eerily silent on $2,000 stimulus checks over the last 2 weeks here since Donald Trump brought them up the first time. He didn't even retweet Trump like, yeah, let's do the 2,000. No, Pelosi did that. Schumer did that. Steny Hoyer did that. Biden didn't do that. Biden saved that moment for today, the day before the day that it matters, which is tomorrow. Joe Biden just made a big campaign promise that $2,000 checks will come if the Democrats win. Now, at the moment, it appears that the Democrats are in the lead. Not by much, but they are in the lead. I'll go ahead and pull up the poll. But in the meantime, let me keep going here with what we've got in terms of what Joe Biden mentioned. Joe Biden continued on in his speech and said that we should elect John and Warnock. It's time for the nation to finally come together, to work together, to unite. Right now, you have two senators who believe you should reward wealth. And these are people who believe that they work for Trump. That's what Biden said about the Republicans. Then we had let's see here. Then he said that as dark times, or in this dark time, I still feel more optimistic about America than I have ever had before in my life. And he says that faith sees best in darkness, and politicians can't take power. They are given power by the people. So again, it was a very politically charged speech designed to convince and motivate voters to come out. Motivate's probably the better word. Motivate people to come out and vote. But obviously, the campaign promise, that should convince you, in Joe Biden's opinion, to vote for Democrats. It's interesting that he's held this card until today. And this is a bomb he just dropped. He just dropped a big bomb here. Let's go ahead and look at the polls here really quick. So these are the current polls. Blue is Democrat, right? We've got two seats here. Right now, the and I mean, look, I know polls are polls, okay? Like, we could throw polls out the window often. But at least for right now, after Donald Trump's sort of Christmas, before Christmas Eve, $2,000 check promise, we actually saw Democrats poll ahead. Ossoff polled ahead right around that time. And look, we've had these switches before, so we can't necessarily say it was because of that. And then we had a widening of the gap here, sort of the Democratic lead over here as well. Again, blue being Democratic. So right now, that means we have a 2.1% lead for Warnock and 1.6% lead for Ossoff. So there you have it. That's really interesting to me. We'll see. Is this just a campaign promise, or is this just another reason to go down to the link down below and get life insurance in as little as 5 minutes and 4 free stocks with Webull when you deposit $100? I don't know. I'll answer a couple questions to see if we have any questions here. Let's see here. Thank you so much for being here. Appreciate the compliment here on the recap. Let's see. We need to work to no, obviously there's not going to be a lot of talk from Democrats about election fraud, because that's not something we're going to hear from Democrats. We will, I guarantee you, we will hear a lot about that from Donald Trump tonight. I expect Donald Trump will very much be focused on the election and sort of his accomplishments and how we can get more of that if we have Republicans in power. I expect that that is sort of the stance that Trump is going to take tonight, where it also makes sense that Biden took the stance of looking towards the future. Just Me here says that Trump won, and then you said ... second place. Silver is still a win. Take the win and cash it in before it's too late. Okay, and there are a lot of comments here, so I should be reading comments here. I wish comments were labeled like left or right before I read them, and then I can read one from each side. Loeffler, okay, fingers crossed. Yeah, okay. So that's the update here. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate y'all being here. Wow, at the last minute here, $10 donation. You didn't have to do that. Thank you for that. Mitch McConnell needs to leave that seat, even though I just watched Pence support those seats. I do not think people are smart enough to bring Democrats to Congress. Okay, so I need some right comments here to balance this out, but maybe we'll get that in the Trump rally video because that's going to be the next live stream. All right, folks, thank you so much again for being here. We will see you again, and thank you for the donations.